Okay, so I'm doing better. My wounds only hurt a little bit today. I'm out of the hospital and relaxing at home now. I'm spending most of my days playing video games or watching Netflix. Real excited about Lock and Key. I loved the comic, so I've been binge watching it. I also powered through Is It Okay to Pick Up Girls in Dungeons? Loved that anime, by the way. I want to address something before I tell the last of my story. It seems that a lot of people don't believe me about what happened, and to be honest, I don't blame them or you if you're one of them. I fully understand just how insane this all sounds, and if I was on the other end, I know for a fact that I sure as hell wouldn't believe it either. I wish to God that none of this happened. I hope every day that I will wake up and it was all one big crazy fever dream, but I really don't think that will be happening anytime soon. Well, as you can tell where I left off, Steve had shot me, but obviously he didn't kill me. This isn't Sunset Boulevard. Quick note for all the young guns and millennials out there. If you don't know, Sunset Boulevard is a 1950 film noir and probably one of the top 10 greatest movies ever made. If you haven't seen it, stop reading this right now and go watch it. You will not be disappointed. He got me in my shoulder. It spun me around like a record baby and I dropped. The pain was intense. It wasn't like in the movies or TV where you could just walk it off. Oh no, it burned like a white-hot motherfucking poker being pushed right through me. My whole arm went numb and useless. I honestly wished I could have passed out from the pain instead of having to feel it. I looked up at Steve with a, let's say, more than a light confused look. Steve shrugged. Why? I had to ask. Because I can't let you do what you were planning on doing, he answered. I have to, I said. If I don't, everything will be destroyed. Yes, I know, he finished. We're counting on it. Okay, time for a little catch-up. When I was forced into looking at the statue, it showed me everything. A little more than I needed to know, if I'm honest. For example, are you ever alone in a room and get a weird feeling like someone's watching you? Or you put something down only for it to disappear, then reappear later on? Well, just be grateful you don't know why that is. And no, I'm not telling you. It's bad enough that I'm forced to know. Wish I could just use that head key from Lock and Key and remove that horrid piece of information. Anyway, the statue told me what's going on, and this is where the real crazy starts. If you think my story was unbelievable before, then I'm really going to lose you now. Okay, here we go. And I'm letting you guys know that I seem to be losing most of what I was given. As if I was trying to hold water, so a lot of what I'm saying is pretty much paraphrasing. Now, a couple of millennia ago, an ancient, evil, vehement force was captured by powerful, yes, I know how this sounds, shamans, and trapped in a pocket realm to spend the rest of eternity. They placed great seals around the earth at strategic locations that used the earth's own energy. I think that some call them ley lines or something, as a generator to forever power the seals and keep the unnamed monstrosity trapped. Or that was the plan at least. See, during World War II, a lot of the seals were cracked. Now I got no proof, but I would bet dollars, $2, that the Nazis were involved with it. Near-apocalyptic disasters just kind of has their name written all over them. Anyway, one of those now cracked seals just happened to be under the first Lowe's. When the seal cracked, one of the statues called out to Carl Bacon, a part owner of Lowe's at the time, and explained the situation. It turned out that the creators of the seal anticipated the possible cracking and created the statues as a backup. just in case. Well, it let Beacon know where the other seals were and which ones were cracked and could possibly break, and it was now up to him to secure and fix those that broke. Kind of a lot of pressure to put on one man's shoulders, to be sure. With the statue help and guidance, Beacon grew Lowe's through the 50s, placing all the new Lowe's over the other broken seals. After his heart attack in 1961, his 5-man executive team, all of them handpicked and knowing of the situation of the broken seals, continued Beacon's plan. The plan was working for the most part, but the problem was Lowe's wasn't getting everywhere it needed to go. So after much debate, the 5-man team decided to approach other growing companies and their CEOs to see if they could get them to help, and after showing them what was at stake, they actually got Sam Walton of Walmart and Ray Kroc of McDonald's on board with the plan. As capitalists, they had a strong interest in seeing that the world wasn't destroyed. Be bad for business and all that. Since 1941, 14 cracked seals have broken and been resealed. The one under my store is number 15. That was why all the strange shit was always happening with the seal cracked under the store. Otherworldly madness was slipping through, and now, with the seal completely broken, all hell was pouring out. It was up to me to reseal it, but I had a limited amount of time to do that. How do I reseal it, you ask? Well, that's the choice part that everyone kept talking about. To reseal a broken seal, it takes one of the most powerful forces on Earth, a human soul that is giving up freely. See, that was why I was chosen. I was the only one that had something real to lose. I could walk away and save myself, but in doing so, I would be dooming all of mankind, including my wife and 2 young children. That was the choice. But for me, it wasn't a choice at all. That was until Steve shot my ass. We've been waiting a long time for this, Steve said, and I can't let you seal the gate when we're this close. I looked at him confused. We? A slight smile spread across Steve's face. Home Depot, of course. Home what? I said with even more confusion in my voice. The room rumbled. Time's getting short, Steve said. Long story short, Home Depot was founded by a coven with the sole purpose of finding an open gate and keeping it open so our true God can come forth and cleanse the world of the human infection. With you gone, the chosen can't choose and the gate will stay open. He leveled the gun at me. So, goodbye. I closed my eyes waiting for the bang. They say you never hear the one that guts you. And God, do I hope that's true. Out of the blue, there was a bewildering, inhuman screech of towards the elevator. We both kind of stopped and looked over, confused. The hell? Steve asked. Like a naked, hairless little blur. Danny came running out of the hallway. Steve's face went from confused to seriously pissed off. You little fucker, Steve said through his gritted teeth. He turned the gun from me towards Danny and opened fire. Danny zigged and zagged like a fat squat fly avoiding a swatter. He ran right up to Steve, and just as Steve's gun clicked empty, he jumped up and, Lord have mercy, beat down hard on Steve's crotch. Steve cried out in anguished pain. He dropped the gun and started punching his crotch, trying to pry Danny off his twig and berries. I stood up and watched the crazy scene playing out in front of me. Then an idea came to me and I prayed to God that it would work. Despite the pain from the hole in my shoulder, I took off towards the screaming Steve and ran straight into him, knocking him off balance. He stumbled back, spun his arms trying to maintain his balance, but I could tell he was on the losing end of that battle. Then he lets go of Steve's snozzberries as Steve totters to the side of the abyss. "I give this so freely," I whispered as I ran up and pushed Steve one last time as he toppled and screamed as he fell over the edge and into the dark green hell. The whole cavern shook and rumbled as rocks from an unseen ceiling high above started to fall. I looked down at Danny. "Elevator," I said as we both started running. "Too bad I didn't make it there. I think a rock hit my head or something, because there was a sharp pain from my head and I completely blacked out, and when I awoke, I was lying in a hospital bed with my wife sitting in a chair watching the news." "Hun?" I asked weakly. My wife startled and jumped to my side. I asked her what happened and how I got here. She explained to me that while I was stalking, somehow a toilet fell from its stored location and on my head, which caused me to dead fall on a pickaxe. I'm not sure where she got that story from, but I think that it would be the best if she kept believing that story. The rest of the day went by normally. I saw my kids and the rest of my family as they all swung by to say hi. The doctors come by to check on me and see how I'm doing. My wife brought me a foot-long meatball sandwich from Subway, my favorite overall. It was pretty nice. When visiting time was over, I went ahead and sent my wife home with the kids so she could get a decent night's sleep. That's when I got 2 more visitors. I had just sat back and was getting comfortable when there was a knock on my door and 2 people came in. The first one was Todd, and the second one I recognized, but I couldn't put my finger on it. "Todd?" I asked with surprise. "Hey," Todd said, "can we come in?" Sure," I said. Todd came in and motioned towards the man behind him. "This is Mr. Melvin Ellison, the CEO of Lowe's." I snapped my fingers. "I knew I recognized you from somewhere," I said. He came over and shook my hand. "Nice to meet you. We promise to make this quick." "Is this about what happened?" I asked. "Yes," Todd said, "and everything that entitles. You are a hero. There's no doubt about that," Ellison said. "But," I prompted. "But," continued Ellison, "what we have here is something unprecedented." "How so?" I asked. "Well," Todd said, "you're still here. Up until now, the seal was always been sealed by a self-sacrifice. You sealed it with just a sacrifice." "To be honest," I said, "I didn't know if it would work or not." "Well," said Ellison, "so far it seems it has. That's why I'm here. I wanted to thank you in person," and he reached into his suit and pulled out an envelope and handed it to me. "We would love to have you back working for us, but we also fully understand if you want to seek other life choices. As long as things are kept under wraps, that is." "Mr. Ellison," I said, "who in the hell would believe me about anything that happened? Shit, I lived through it, and I don't really believe it." Mr. Ellison smiled and nodded. Todd shook my hand. "I hope to see you again." "We'll see," I said in return. "By the way, are Mike and John okay?" Todd smiled. "Everyone's fine," he said. "Even Danny?" I smiled at that. Todd walked over and opened the door for Ellison. "Mr. Ellison," I said just before he went through the door. He turned back to me. "Yes?" "Steve," I explained. "He worked for Home Depot. I think they're out to get, well, everyone." "I'm well aware," Ellison said to me. "That's why I left them. Thank you for the info, though." He and Todd left and closed the door behind them. I opened the envelope and pulled out a very large check and a letter. The letter thanked me and told me to enjoy my life. And with the check, I think that the family and I will do just that. So, that's my craziest story. I'm sorry it took so long to write. Life has been keeping me busy. I know how hard it is to believe, and I don't blame you if you don't, but thank you, everyone, that followed this insane ride and worried about me and the others. And always remember to have a Lowe safe day.